A device contains two components. It fails if either component fails. The joint density function of the lifetimes of the components is f of st, where s is between 0 and 1, and t is between 0 and 1. So this should be a t. This should be pushed to the next line. Determine which of the following represents the probability that the device fails during the first half hour. So the device will fail during the first half hour if one component fails, or if the first component fails, or the second component fails, or both fail. Now, the quick way to do this is to look at the answers. So we know that we are looking for one fails or both fail, or first fails or second fails or both fails. So let's see what these answer choices represent. A says that both of them fail during the first half hour because both go from 0 to 0.5. So that's not what we're looking for, because both fail is just one way in which the device can fail. We know that the device will fail if one fails, first fails, second fails, or both fail. So this is just part of the equation. Choice B says that ds, so if we call s as the first component and t as the second component, so this is saying that s goes from 0 to 0.5, which means s fails during the first half hour, whereas t could fail anyway, anytime between its lifetime. So choice B is only telling us the probability of s failing. So that's also not the complete equation. Choice C is telling us that none of them fails during first half hour because both are going from 0.5 to 1. So that's also not what we're looking for. Choice D tells us that so the T component goes 0 to 0.5. So it means the T component fails in the first half hour, and nothing can be said about S. So, and the second double integral is telling us that the S component fails during first half hour. So here it's the second component failing or the first component failing. So it's not including the part where both fails. So that's also not right. So E has to be correct by the method of exclusion because none of the first four are correct. So to see directly how E will be correct is, we know that we're looking for either only the first fails or only the second fails or both fails during first half hour. So only the first fails will be this double integral because S is the first one and the 0 to 0.5 are corresponding to S. Remember, the outer limits correspond to the outer variable. So this is saying that only S fails and T does not fail. So that means T goes from 0.5 to 1. I mean, T does not fail during the first half hour, so it fails during the second. So this one is saying that the first component doesn't fail because during the first half hour because it's somewhere between first half hour and the full hour, whereas the second component T fails in the first half hour. So this one was saying that only the first fails, this is saying only the second fails, and then the last double integral says that both fail. So now if we leave this second one untouched and combine the first and the third, so in the first and the third you have 0 to 0.5 as the outer, so you and then inside you have 0.5 to 1 and 0 to 0.5. So we can write it as 0 to 0.5 plus 0.5 to 1, which is what I've done. So I've left the second one unchanged, second integral unchanged, and after factoring out, I wrote the two that I talked about. And then this 0 to 0.5 plus 0.5 to 1, that combines to 0 to 1. And so I have this one, which is here, plus, and in this one, the outside was 0 to 0.5, which I left untouched. And then the inside two combine into 0 to 1. And now this is not quite choice E, but if you look at choice E, so you see here go 0.5 to 1, 0 to 0.5, but here it goes 0 to 0.5 and 0.5 to 1. And here I have ds dt and I have dt ds over here. And similarly, the other one, I have 0 to 0.5 and 0 to 1 dt ds, whereas this one has 0 to 1 and 0 to 0.5 ds dt. So now in a double integral, if all the limits involved are constant, then the limits are this, 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 this. So if all the limits of a double integral are constant, then the order can be reversed. So for example, in this one, I can just do it ds dt, and then I change the order here. So this comes out and this comes in. It's the same here. And then it is exactly choice C.